All right, this call we are responding to an actual rescue call. Supposedly we have a female in the water in a recreational type area. Uh, the situation here, we're not quite sure how far she fell into the water, how far of a drop it was, or if she just is a type of a drowning type of an issue. So we're trying to get as much information as we can at this point. What we do know is that the access to this patient is going to be a little bit difficult no matter how far she actually fell. So we're going to actually have we have the fire department responding with some rope rescue teams and extraction teams going on, and as well as police rescue as well, and we have helicopters inbound as well to try to locate her in the water and try to find the best access point to get at her. So this type of a call, this is the type of thing you're not really sure what you're going to find. It could just be a straight drowning victim. It could be something where it's more trauma related mixed in with drowning. Which came first? Did she fall in the water and then get injured, or was she injured possibly in the drop on the way down, and then she went up drowning secondary to that? So we're not quite sure as far as age goes, what exactly happened. All we know is that we have a female that's in the water, and we have multiple agencies responding to this. So, just start thinking about on calls like this the different type of trauma scenarios that you might be presented with, the different types of medical scenarios if she is a drowning victim, and you have to start doing resuscitation efforts for the drowning victim scenario as well. So we're going to go ahead and cut this off. I'm going to make sure that we have a medevac at least on standby, if not inbound to our location. We can always cancel them if we need to down the road, but I like to try to get the medevac going just in case they start pulling somebody out of the water, or if it's a trauma issue and they're getting that person out of the water, and try to get them onto the medevac and off to a trauma center as soon as possible. So I'll let you know what we find on the other side. Okay, so once we got on scene on this assignment, it turns out we did have a female that was in the water. It turned out she wound up falling about 100 or so feet into the water, and it ended up being where she just was in cardiac arrest when I had a major skull fracture, head injury, and was not really viable to try to resuscitate, given the heart area that she was in, and trying to access her and all that. So it was unfortunate that there was nothing really too much that anyone could really do for the patient that went into the water. But the important part of this whole thing, when you have a high angle rescue like this, this is just a little picture here to give you an idea of the type of terrain that you want to talking about in this type of situation where it drops off like that and goes down into the water. Just for the rope team alone had to get down about 100 or so feet just to get down to the water, just even to begin starting a search and trying to locate the victim. So, when they did find her again, she did have a major skull fracture and was in cardiac arrest after falling about 100 or so feet. So the trauma and the mechanism was all there, and it was pretty obvious there was nothing anyone can really do for her. So we actually wound up being on scene on this call for about 8 hours, believe it or not. And this is when you get a rescue that turns into a recovery effort. And what happens is that the victim is, you're trying to get the victim out, but now you're there to take care of the rescuers, and you've got a rope team down there, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 people who are trying to recover the victim and get the victim out of that tight area, that bad area that they're in. And you have to be there for the rescuers in case they get injured. They could easily break a leg, twist an ankle, even hit their head or something like that, or even worse, the rope system could fail and they could wind up falling themselves. So you want to be on scene for the rescuers. In addition to that, you're also on scene for the people that are on top of the area, the other firefighters and police officers, all the support personnel that are there, to help them. They're walking around. This happened to be a very warm day, and they have bunker gear on. They've got a lot of activity going on, and you have to be there for them for things like dehydration and things like that, and be there to help them with the rehab efforts of the rescuers that are actually on the rope team, and everyone else that's up top that is trying to work on the recovery efforts. So, while the initial excitement is over of actually having some type of rescue, a person in the water, high angle type rescue, things like that, and when it turns into where it's more of a recovery effort, while it's not as exciting, it is a much needed a resource to have EMS on scene, just in case, one of the rescuers get injured, and also again to help with the other rescuers up top who might wind up getting dehydrated or need some assistance. With that, you never know. Even simple things like some type of an allergy reaction or something like that. You get a rescue has asthma or whatever. So you have multiple people on scene, multiple agencies, a lot of stuff going on. So you're there more as more support, and not really maybe directly involved in the recovery itself, but you are there for support, and you are there in case there is any type of additional injuries or medical situations that might arise during the entire recovery effort. And in 8 hours with so many personnel on scene, vehicles, you never know what could happen. So you have 8 hours of time where something else could arise, and you don't need to be calling an ambulance that could be coming from far away, when you can be on scene and ready to assist as needed. So it was unfortunate. There wasn't much we can do for the patient as far as rescue goes, but it was an important lesson as far as knowing that EMS can be a vital part of a recovery effort like that, and be available to other agencies and other rescuers if need be. So just keep that in mind when you're stuck on a call like that, where it's more of a recovery type of an effort, that it's not just about getting there and taking care of the maybe a vital emergency at the time. Sometimes you get on scene second, maybe you get on scene even third, and calls like this where maybe there is an actual victim, another ambulance, another agency took that victim to the hospital, but yet you as a secondary responder might be needed to stay on scene to assist in recovery and assist in any type of rescuers that might get injured. So it's still a vital role that as EMS providers we have to play in these types of situations. So just keep that in mind when you get on scenes like this, and even though it is an 8-hour long type event, just keep yourself hydrated, and be ready to act, and keep the scenarios going in your mind of the different things that can happen as far as broken legs, ankles, even things like rescuers that could wind up getting chest pain if they're not in the best of shape and they're doing things that maybe they shouldn't be doing. So anything could happen in that 8-hour time frame. So keep your scenarios going in your head while you're on scene, and look at the terrain even, and just try to maybe figure out what you would have done had there actually been an actual victim, and how you would have reacted according to the terrain where you're at. So maybe in the future, if you do wind up in the same situation, you'll be a little more familiar with that terrain and that type of a rescue situation. Well, this is Jim Hoffman from a Virtual Response Medic and the EMS Professional. As always, stay safe, and if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comment section below, or send me an email at jhoffman@ems-safety.com.